Qaunak Mikkigak. Qaunak Mikkigak, born November 15, 1932, died 2020, also known as Qaunak Mikkigak or Haunak Mikkigak, was an Inuk throat singer, storyteller, drawer, sculptor, jeweler, and writer from Cape Dorset, Nunavut, Canada. She co-authored the children's books The Legend of the Fog and Grandmother Ptarmigan, based on traditional Inuit stories. She was featured in the book Inuit Women Artists, Voices from Cape Dorset for her artwork, and in Cape Dorset Sculpture. She lived in Cape Dorset, Nunavut, Canada. She died in 2020. Family. Qaunak was the daughter of Mary Mikkigak, a graphic artist. Qaunak grew up traditionally on Inuit lands and began to make small carvings after her father's death when she was still a girl. She was married to Inuit artist Qaunak Mikkigak. She resides in Cape Dorset, Nunavut. She had a younger brother and ties to 4 formerly adoptive siblings. She was the wife of Qaunak Mikkigak, also transliterated as Qaunak Mikkigak or Qaunak Mikkigak, fellow drawer and sculptor. She has 8 children, 1 of her own and 7 adoptive children. Early life. Born November 15, 1932 in the camp Nunavut, also known as Nunavut. She lived her entire life in the area of and around Cape Dorset. When Qaunak was a very young child, about 3 or 4, she was temporarily adopted by a family in another camp. Reasons for this adoption are unknown. During this time she was mistreated and beaten by her adoptive parents. She found refuge with her eldest adopted brother and his wife, who would feed her when they were alone. After a visit from her father, she was later returned to her family in the spring. After being returned home, Qaunak enjoyed learning the traditional Inuit ways of life from her mother, Mary Mikkigak. Mary couldn't move around a lot due to a heart condition, and so Qaunak did most of the work, such as collecting firewood, fetching water, preparing sealed blubber, emptying the qaunak, cleaning the igloo floor, and chewing and sewing skins to make the family's clothing. Qaunak's father died when she was about 8 or 10 years old. Later her mother remarried a man named Quapapik and moved to Churchill, Manitoba for employment. Qaunak remained behind to continue living in Nunavut. Marriage. Qaunak married Qaunak Mikkigak, and they lived the traditional Inuit lifestyle in Nunavut together. When Qaunak's mother and stepfather returned to Cape Dorset for Quapapik to become a custodian at the school, the Mikkigak family also moved into the settlement to enroll their 2 young children into the school. Later both she and her husband followed in Quapapik's footsteps and became employed as custodians. Both Qaunak and her husband produce their work for their own enjoyment, and Qaunak takes pride in helping to support her family. Artistic biography. Before her father's death, Qaunak remembers watching him and the other men of Nunavut carving ivory and stone into small figures to sell to the Hudson's Bay Company. During this time she also began creating carvings of her own, but kept them hidden because only men were carving at the time. As such, she is considered one of the first Inuit women carvers. After her father's death she began to carve more openly. Qaunak started with making soapstone heads for dolls, later creating quilt and then geese. She makes her carvings using an axe and file, never electric tools. Qaunak has created work in several mediums, including jewelry, drawing, and sewing. She is best known for her naturalistic sculptures and carving. The themes and imagery present in her work include traditional folk tales, animals, Inuit shamans, and other figures. Qaunak is quoted saying, "I like to carve human figures the most, especially those of women. It's challenging to try and make their faces feminine-looking." And Qaunak Mikkigak's work has been in many collections, shows, and galleries. These include prints in the annual Cape Dorset Print Collections, 1980, 1981, and 1986. Group shows Eskimo sculpture, Eskimo prints and paintings of Norval Morrisseau, Art Association of Newport, Rhode Island 1968 debut Cape Dorset Jewelry. Canadian Guild of Crafts Quebec, Montreal 1976 Things That Make Us Beautiful / Nos Pariers, Department of Indian Affairs and Northern Development, Ottawa 1970. Private and Public Collections, Art Gallery of Ontario, the Canadian Museum of Civilization, the Inuit Cultural Institute, Rankin Inlet, the Laurentian University Museum and Arts Centre, Sudbury, the National Gallery of Canada, the Prince of Wales Northern Heritage Centre, Yellowknife, and the Winnipeg Art Gallery. Music. Qaunak Mikkigak was known also for her traditional Inuit throat singing. She has traveled throughout Canada and internationally to perform. Books. The Legend of the Fog. The Legend of the Fog is the story of a boy making his way across the tundra when he encounters a giant who wishes to eat him. In his escape from the giant, the boy releases the first fog into the world. Grandmother Ptarmigan. Grandmother Ptarmigan explains why ptarmigans make the calls that they do and why young ptarmigans fly early in life. This is done through the scenario of a ptarmigan telling a bedtime story to her grandchildren. References ==